Welcome to the seventh video in the 7-video series, 7 Principles for Fulfilling Relationships from Sattva Tov Institute. I'm David Wolf. Right in the first series, in the first video, we mentioned how we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and the spiritual beings, the nature of spirit is to expand. The nature of spirit is to expand. And that means to expand in our happiness, in our bliss. It's never stagnant. Also to expand in our knowledge. And this points to the seventh principle. The seventh principle, we'll call it the spirit of discovery. The spirit of discovery. And just like each principle references a particular quality of character, like win-win. Win-win requires the quality of commitment, authenticity. To be authentic requires that we're courageous. And so the spirit of discovery, it means that we're connected with the spiritual quality of humility. Humility, of course, it's different than humiliation. Actually, it takes quite a bit of strength and security and a sense of personal value to be humble. It's said like a tree that's full of fruit. The branches of a tree that's full of fruit naturally bends down. And so humility means that we enter into each situation, each relationship, with that spirit of wonder and discovering, not presupposing that we know, not hiding behind judgments, And this also connects with the quality of gratitude, an attitude of gratitude. Now, in terms of, any aspect of life, gratitude, research has shown that an attitude of gratitude correlates so powerfully with happiness and contentment and fulfillment. And specifically, if we're talking about relationships, that especially when we encounter qualities or behaviors in the other person that maybe are especially challenging for us, they tend to irk us, irritate, annoy us, that especially when the spirit of discovery can be especially powerful and helpful, that we're grateful because we see that this person is my teacher. This person is my teacher, that there's something for me to learn here. And if we go into a situation, whether it's a relationship or a career endeavor, if we go into a situation and our goal is to grow and learn and discover, in that sense, we can never fail. Because we can never fail to learn if we're in the spirit of discovery. That even if things don't go according to our plan. So in terms of relationship, that especially at those times when we're finding the other person challenging, that we can see, okay, what's my growth here? What's my opportunity for spiritual development, for self-realization? So this is the spirit of discovery, and in that way, we can always keep learning and growing, and self-realizing. I just received a letter from someone who completed the Sattva Tov seminars, and she was fresh from the experience, and she was saying she was in a relationship, and she was talking to someone, and she had a point of view, and he had a different point of view, and it was quite diverse point of views, and there was the anger and the disagreement escalating. And she said that she used some of the skills like principles like empathy and skills like reflection, and she decided, okay, let me get off of being right. Let me make what's important, not that I get to be right. And let me make what's important that I really enter into the world of this other person and I discover, and I'm really understanding this other person. And she found that in that he became so satisfied and appreciative and fulfilled. And for her, that to be right didn't even matter anymore. She was experiencing such fulfillment, and as it worked, they both discovered so much. they both learned about each other and about themselves. And so in this spirit of discovery, we naturally use the other principles for fulfilling relationships. We talked earlier in video 2 about responsibility, and we can think of personal responsibility, the stance of 100% responsibility. We can consider that. We can consider that in terms of, let's say, 3 dimensions. One dimension is responsible immediately for my emotions, my experience of whatever's going on, whatever you do, and we discussed this earlier, that I'm 100% responsible for my response, whether I respond with resentment or appreciation, or I respond with assertiveness or contentment or bitterness or confusion. I'm 100% responsible. That's experiential responsibility. Then there's, call it, practical responsibility. Practical responsibility where I look at how did I set up this situation? How am I the source of it practically? And then related to the spirit of discovery, I'll call it spiritual responsibility. That practical responsibility is how did I set it up? Spiritual responsibility is how come I set it up? And then if I can cultivate this consciousness, this spiritual habit of in each situation, especially situations that are challenging, how come I set that up? How come I set that up? Meaning that me, in connection with the divine, with the supreme, how come I set that up in terms of the opportunity of my personal growth, the purification of my spirit? How come I set up this challenging situation in my life, in relationship? Maybe it's to cultivate humility or detachment, or to give up a sense of controlling things that I'm not supposed to control, whatever it is. How come I set that up? And if I can enter into each situation, if I cultivate this habit of entering into each situation, each relationship, with this sense of spiritual responsibility, what's the bigger picture here in terms of my growth and the growth of everyone involved? That's the spirit of discovery, and it also that's very valuable in, I'll call it, in preventing a lapse. That if we do have some slip in ourselves or with someone else, and we go off principles of high-level communication and growth, that it becomes a learning experience. It doesn't become a downward spiral for months and months or years and years. That I have some lapse, and I learn from that lapse through the spirit of discovery. If you've gotten value from these videos or you found them interesting, we encourage you to check out the Sattva Tov programs at the calendar page of sattvatov.com. Also, to get and read the book, Relationships That Work, The Power of Conscious Living. Also, consider Sattva Tov coaching and Sattva Tov coach training. Thank you for being with us.